Hey guys, Vox here, and I wanted to make this video because I've said this in the comment section a few times before without really going to depth or clarifying anything. So here is this video, and the topic is why Rose Quartz, Steven's mother, the leader of the Crystal Gems, is never physically coming back to the show's story. There will never be a physical appearance of Rose that's in the present outside of like flashbacks or holographic projections. Now, as I stated multiple times before, the Crewniverse likes to tweet things and then delete them. And I was looking for the tweets that stated all this information, but they're gone. Which may cause you guys to go, oh, how do I know this isn't full of BS? Like I said, the screen caps for the tweets are out there, I'm just having a hard time finding them. So if someone from the Steverse subreddit can help me out, because I know you guys have tweet bots and save images and everything, but luckily I don't need those tweets word for word to exactly explain why Rose isn't coming back. Basically, what it boiled down to was the data within the gem that stored Rose's body memories was overwritten and became Steven. The data in that gem is now Steven's DNA. It was overwritten. But if you're wondering, okay, how does he have his powers and gem abilities? Well, I can explain that. If you look at Guide to the Crystal Gems, Pearl even says that gems are kind of like supercomputers, the actual gemstone. So you can view the actual gemstone as hardware. It is the motherboard of gems, and it is Steven's motherboard, his CPU, while Steven's heart is more like his battery. But everything that makes up that computer is in the gemstone. However, full gems can, project their body, shapeshift and everything. That's more like software. So in the hardware is the powers, the actual gem, the shield, everything following along, while the body, how it looks, the personality, the memories, that's all software. So let's say Rose's gem, the Rose Quartz gem itself is like a Macintosh. Its normal operating system is a Mac. So let's say Rose was that operating system. Now let's say you wanted to boot up Windows onto that Macintosh. So the hardware, the CPU, the memory, the RAM, everything is actually the actual computer, the body. But if you put up Windows on there, then the software is now Windows. Different look, different programs, and it just functions differently. That's Steven. Steven is Windows being booted into a Macintosh. I hope that analogy makes sense. So while the powers, the abilities, everything was the hardware, Rose's personality, her look, her appearance, her voice, all of those attributes was the software. And when Steven was born, when Rose quote-unquote turned into Steven, the software of Rose Quartz got overridden as the software of Steven. It became a clean slate. So for Rose to come back, they would have to reinstall that software into the gem. But the problem is, since Steven is half human, that can't be done. If Rose's personality was backed up somewhere in that gem, if Rose's data is there somewhere, they can't really reinstall it into the gem. Because one, Steven's personality and data got overwritten onto Rose's gem because Rose gave birth to him. Steven, as far as we know, cannot give birth. If we assume he has the male anatomy, he cannot give birth. But furthermore, since he's half human, as I said, the gemstone is the motherboard, the CPU, all of that jazz. Steven's heart is like the battery of the computer. It became the battery of the computer, of the gem. So just like a regular computer, if you take out the CPU, the hard drive, the motherboard, it's not gonna work. And if you take out the battery, it's not gonna work. So if Steven's gem gets shattered or his heart gives out or gets destroyed, he's done. He's just dead. Once you remove that gem from the body, it no longer has a power source. Steven is not made out of light like the crystal gems, like Rose. He has flesh and blood and bones. Granted, he can still shapeshift and everything, But because he's human, he can't do it as, well, half human. He can't do it as well as Garnet, Amethyst, or Pearl. He can't do it for as long periods of time or into an exact form. I'm sure there'll come a point in the series where Steven has a better hold of shapeshifting, but as far as I'm concerned, I highly doubt it'll ever be on the level of Amethyst or Garnet, and assumably Pearl. She hasn't shapeshifted yet in the show, but we know she can. At least that's what she stated. But since Steven is flesh and blood, he has tissues, he has an organic body. And it's been established that gems do not have organic bodies.
The Earth.
It's full of life.
Organic life.
They're made of light. They can control their body. If you cut through a gem, that body is destroyed, but since it was light and inorganic, it can reform. But since Steven is organic, if you cut through him, you're cutting through an actual body. He can't poof. You're just gonna have guts and blood everywhere. As graphic as that sounds. But beyond the anatomy of it, from a narrative standpoint, it wouldn't make sense for Rose to come back. Steven Universe is a world full of questions that you need answers to, and not every question is going to be answered by the end of the series. That's just how a good storytelling mystery works. Can you name a show where every mystery was answered? And if you can, if a show, series, whatever, if you can answer and say, yeah, this franchise had every question answered, was it satisfying? And more often than not, you're gonna get not every answer was satisfying. But I believe the world of Steven Universe has too many questions that probably won't be answered. Lion will definitely be answered. Any information on the diamonds, I feel like most of that will be answered. However, a lot of these questions, a lot of the mysteries of the show stem from Rose. Who was she? What did she do? If you ever introduced her into the story again, you get all those answers right there, and it really kills the fun. If Rose was there in the show, you wouldn't have the huge pink diamond revelation from Jasper and the Rubies. You wouldn't have episodes like Rose's Scabbard. And the flashback episodes will lose the impact that they had if Rose ever came back. The point of the episode is to see how Rose was in person, how she acted, how she reacted. It's an inside look to the character because we won't be seeing her physically. A lot of the tension and drama between the homeworld and the Crystal Gems has to do with Rose not being there, but Steven instead, and Steven being put in this position where his mom messed up, so now he has to pay for it. Why would you want Rose to just stroll on up and be like, oh nope, that was me, touching over? It'll ruin what the show has built up, and what it's built up is for Steven to fill the role of his mother's footsteps, but to surpass his mother, to be better than her in every single way. And our merit, our judges for that are the characters who knew her. The Crystal Gems, Greg, even the Diamonds. They're the people who are supposed to let us know if Steven is doing better or worse than Rose. If he's surpassing her. And a huge point for Steven is that he has to do this without his mom. He only has his father and the Crystal Gems and Connie. Yeah, he has Beach City, but at the end, the people who are really close to him are those people I just named. They've built a dynamic of Steven having to measure up to his mother's footsteps. And not only that, but the gems themselves, Garnet, Amethyst, and especially Pearl. They've all had character arcs in the series and still having character arcs about moving on from Rose. The fact that she's gone. Dealing with the fact that she's gone. I mean, Pearl with S is finally moving on from Rose. And that's so beautiful and fantastic. Why would you want Rose to come back and send Pearl through another emotional breakdown, another train wreck, another wild ride? Bringing Rose back would not only be a slap in the face to Steven's development, but especially Pearl's. And I'm sure things have not been easier on Greg. I'm sure he misses Rose, but he has to learn how to move on from it too, and he seems to be dealing with it pretty well. And one of the greatest episodes of the show, by common consensus, is Mr. Greg. That entire episode is off the fact that Rose is gone and moving on from it. Why would you want that episode to become null and void by bringing Rose back into the story? Rebecca Sugar and the Crooniverse is a way better storyteller than that. This team, this creative team, is so imaginative and knows how to tell a powerful story that I wouldn't believe for a second they would stoop to that kind of level of storytelling. Because it would just be awkward. This point in the story, it would be awkward. It always would have been awkward. Excuse me, I burped there. And well, that's really all I have to say. Not only can't physically Rose come back, but if they somehow miraculously found a way to bring her back, it would ruin the narrative of the show. And I have so much faith in the Crooniverse that I know they would never even touch that. But these are my thoughts, and I want to hear yours, so please comment down below. I'm interested in the discussion that's going to emerge from this video. Do you guys think I'm wrong and Rose will still come back? Do you want to see a happy family moment? Or do you agree that it's going to ruin all the character development that they've built? This narrative of, we don't need Rose anymore, only to bring her back. She's gone for a reason. She's not in this story for a reason. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Check out our Patreon at Roundtable Vids. Follow us on Twitter. You know the works. Awestruck Vox, signing out.